Liberty by Julia Alvarez, Part 2. Late one morning, Mommy gave my sisters and me the news. Our visa had come. Mr. Victor had arranged everything, and that very night we were going to the United States of America. Wasn't that wonderful? She flashed us a bright smile, as if someone were taking her picture. We stood together watching her, alarmed at this performance of happiness, when really she looked like she wanted to cry. All morning, aunts had been stopping by and planting big kisses on our foreheads and holding our faces in their hands and asking us to promise we would be very good. Until now, we hadn't a clue why they were so worked up. Mommy kept smiling her company smile. She had a little job for each of us to do. There would not be room in our bags for everything. We were to pick the one toy we wanted to take with us to the United States. I didn't even have to think twice about my choice. It had suddenly dawned on me we were leaving, and that meant leaving everything behind. I want to take Liberty. Mommy started shaking her head no. We could not take a dog into the United States of America. That was not allowed. Please, I begged with all my might. Please, please, Mommy, please. Repetition sometimes worked. Each time you said the word, it was like giving a little push to the yes that was having a hard time rolling out of her mouth. I said no. The bright smile on Mommy's face had grown dimmer and dimmer. N-O. She spelled it out for me in case I was confusing it no with another word like yes. I said a toy, and I mean a toy. I burst into tears. I was not going to the United States unless I could take Liberty. Mommy shook me by the shoulders and asked me, between clenched teeth, if I didn't understand we had to go to the United States or else. But all I could understand was that a world without liberty would break my heart. I was inconsolable. Mommy began to cry. Tia Mimi took me aside. She had gone to school in the States and had always had her nose in a book. In spite of her poor taste in how to spend her free time, I still loved her, because she had smart things to say, like telling Mommy that punishment was not the way to make kids behave. I'm going to tell you a little secret, she offered now. You're going to find liberty when you get to the United States. Really? I asked. She hesitated a minute, and then she gave me a quick nod. You'll see what I mean, she said, and then, giving me a pat on the butt, she added, Come on, let's go pack. How about taking that wonderful book I got you on the Arabian Nights? Late in the night, someone comes in and shakes us awake. It's time. Half asleep, we put on our clothes, hands helping our arms to go into the right sleeves, buttoning us up, running a comb through our hair. We were put to sleep hours earlier because the plane had not come in. But now it was time. Go sit on the floor, we are ordered, as the many hands that now seem to be in control, finished with us. We file out of the bedroom, one by one, and go sit on the bench where packages were set down when Mommy comes in from shopping. There was much rushing around. Mr. Victor comes by and pats us on the heads like dogs. We'll have to wait a few more minutes, he said. In that wait, one sister has to go to the bathroom. Another wants a drink of water. I'm left sitting with my baby sister, who is dozing with her head on my shoulder. I lay her head down on the bench and slip out. The dark patio, down the path to the back of the yard I go. Every now and then a strange figure flashes by. I have said goodbye to Liberty a dozen times already, but there's something else I have left to do. Sitting on the bench, I had an image again of those two men in mirror glasses. After we are gone, they come into the property. They smash the pictures of Poppy's great-grandmother fanning herself. They knock over the things on the coffee table as if they don't know any better. They throw the flowered cushions on the floor. They smash the windows. And then they come to the back of the property and they find Liberty. Quickly, because I hear calling from the big house, I slip open the door of the pen. Liberty is all over me, wagging his tail so it beats against my legs, jumping up and licking my face. Get away, I order sharply, in a voice he's not used to hearing from me. I began walking back to the house, not looking around so as not to encourage him. I want him to run away before the gangsters come. He doesn't understand and keeps following me. Finally, I have to resort to Mommy's technique. I kick him, softly at first, but then, when he keeps tagging behind me, I kick him hard. He whimpers and dashes away toward the front yard, disappearing in areas of darkness, then reappearing when he passes through lighted areas. At the front of the house, instead of turning toward our secret place, he keeps on going, straight down the drive, through the big gates, to the world out there. He will beat me to the United States, is what I'm thinking as I head back to the house. I will find liberty there, like Tia Mimi says. But I already sense it is a different kind of liberty my aunt means. All I can do is hope that when we come back, as Mummy has promised we will, liberty will be waiting for me here.